Okay, picture this. You've just wrapped up this amazing high-touch executive event. Everything clicked, right? Great conversations, real connections, the team's buzzing, they felt things moving forward.
Hmm. That high after a good event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, boom, next morning, CFO meeting, and there it is, the question we all kind of dread. So that 75 grand event,
Mm.
what's the actual auditable ROI on it?
Yeah, that's the classic moment, isn't it? Where the sort of good vibes meet the cold, hard numbers. And, often the vibes just don't cut it.
They really do.
And our sources show this isn't just you. It's a massive issue. Like 36% of marketing teams, they're just not sure about their event ROI. And worse, 18% flat out say they have no measurable way to prove it. Zero.
And that fear, that uncertainty about proving value, that's why so many events get stuck being seen as just, a cost, a marketing expense line.
Instead of the revenue driver, they absolutely can be.
Right. So if you want to stop defending costs and start asking for, well, frankly, more investment, you need a really airtight method.
Exactly. And that's our thesis today. It's not just that events are, nice to haves. They're critical for high-value ABM. Why? Because they bring the right people together. You get that focus, those intimate account-specific experiences.
Okay.
But, and this is the key, winning the budget.
Yeah.
That takes proof. You got to show acceleration, expansion, how you're beating competitors. And you need a method that's, well, defensible, not just feelings.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear then. We want to give you a solid, CFO-ready 10-step playbook.
Yep. Focusing on cohort attribution, a structured 90-day plan, something finance can actually look at and say, okay, I trust these numbers.
Let's turn that event line item into a proper investment.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
Why are events, especially certain kinds, such a good fit for ABM right now? The landscape's shifting, isn't it?
It really is. And what's interesting is our sources point out the fastest growing event type. It's not the massive trade shows anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the smaller, hosted, owned, in-person things. Think roundtables, workshops, executive dinners.
That makes sense. Intimacy over spectacle.
Exactly. And that shift fits ABM perfectly. ABM's all about deepening those key relationships, moving accounts forward that you're already targeting. Small events let you have those really tailored, relevant conversations.
Okay.
But the real kicker, I think, is leveraging that measurement gap we talked about. Teams that can actually show rigorous proof, they just stand out immediately.
So it's an opportunity.
Totally. And we know it works. There's vendor research showing teams that operationalize their post-event signals, meaning they actually do something structured with the info. They're 86% more likely to tie real revenue back to those events.
86%. Wow. Okay, but before we even get to measuring the impact, we need finance to trust the cost side, right? You can't just throw numbers around.
Oh, absolutely. Trust starts with transparency on costs. You need auditable cost bands. We all know a big trade show booth can be anything from, $50K to $50K plus easily.
Right.
But for these smaller, intimate formats, you can be more specific, like an executive dinner. Good catering. You're probably looking at $75 to $100, maybe more, per head.
And that's just food.
That's just the food. Before venue, AV, staff, all of that. So getting those conservative, clear ranges established early, that builds credibility for your whole event portfolio budget requests.
Okay, makes sense. Get the financial straight first.
Yeah.
Step one, what's step two? Tackling the measurement itself. You mentioned attribution earlier.
Yeah, this is fundamental. If you're still trying to justify ABM events using old school attribution like first touch or last touch, well, you're using the wrong tool for the job.
Because those are built for volume, lead gen.
Precisely. They track touches for mass marketing, ABM events. They're progression engines. They're about moving deals forward, deepening engagement within accounts you already know are important.
So we need a different approach.
We absolutely do. We need to switch the methodology to something finance actually trusts because it shows causality, not just, correlation or influence. And that method is the cohort plus counterfactual approach.
Okay, cohort plus counterfactual. Let's unpack that. Sounds rigorous, maybe a bit academic.
It sounds it, but the concept is actually pretty straightforward, though it does need rigor in execution. Basically, for every event program you run, you need two carefully selected groups.
All right, group one.
That's your treatment cohort. These are the specific named accounts, your Tier A, Tier B targets, where someone verified actually attended your event or took a scheduled meeting there. They got the treatment.
Got it. The attendees. And group two. This is the counterfactual part.
Exactly. This is the matched control group. It's crucial. You need to find an equal number of similar named accounts. Same tier, same region, similar profile, maybe similar size or industry.
But they didn't attend the event.
Correct. You might have invited them, but they didn't come. Comparing the outcomes between the treatment group and this matched control group, that's how you isolate the event's impact. It helps you argue it wasn't just coincidence that the attendees' deals progressed.
Okay, I see. So it's like a mini scientific experiment for each event.
In a way, yes. It brings that level of discipline.
So now we have these two groups. How do we measure the difference? What are we looking for over, say, the next 90 days?
Right. The 90-day window is key for that initial proof point. We're looking for the deltas, the differences in how the treatment group behaved compared to the control group. And there are 5 critical ones.
5 deltas. Okay, what's the first?
First, velocity delta. Did the attending accounts move through the sales pipeline faster? We measure the median number of days it takes to get from one stage to the next.
So like if attendees took 45 days to go from qualification to proposal, but the non-attendees took 60 days.
That 15-day difference, that's your velocity delta. You can literally quantify the value of closing that revenue 15 days sooner. It's accelerated revenue.
Makes sense. What's number 2?
Second, stage movement rate. Simply, what percentage of accounts in each group advanced at least one pipeline stage during that 90-day period? Were attendees more likely to move forward?
Okay, more movement. Third delta.
Third, multi-threading delta. Events are fantastic for this. Did you add more relevant contacts, more stakeholders within the attending accounts compared to the control group? We measure the net new stakeholders added post-event.
Getting deeper into the account.
Nice.
And the last 2, you said these often have big dollar signs attached.
They often do. Fourth is the win rate delta. Did you win more deals, especially in head-to-head competitive situations among the accounts that attended? Maybe that event built trust or gave you an edge the control group didn't have?
Crucial in competitive markets. And number 5.
Fifth, the ASP delta, average selling price. Did the deals you closed with the attending accounts end up being larger, on average, than deals with the control group?
Let's pause on that ASP delta. Why is that so significant for ABM events?
Well, think about it. It directly counters the events are just cost argument. We've seen cases, right, where companies use these intimate exec roundtables. They don't just talk generally. They use it to introduce, say, a new higher margin service or module earlier than they normally could.
Ah, so the setting allows for a bigger conversation.
Exactly. The intimacy lets the sales lead really understand the full scope of the client's needs, maybe uncover opportunities they wouldn't find through email, and boom, they find the event cohort ends up with, say, a 15% higher average deal size. That's not influence, that's measurable value expansion directly tied to the event format.
I love that framing. It shifts the whole conversation. So this whole cohort approach, these deltas, it's moving from did the event touch the deal, which is weak,
Very weak.
to did the event accelerate it, expand it, or help us win it, especially against competitors.
Precisely. And that is the language your CFO understands and respects. It's about tangible business outcomes.
Which leads us neatly to the financial model. You said we needed to ditch the old math.
Absolutely. Stop calculating ROI as just pipeline created divided by event cost. That's pure lead gen thinking. It dramatically undervalues what a good ABM event actually achieves in terms of deal progression and expansion.
So what's the new, more comprehensive equation?
Okay, it's a bit longer, but each piece maps back to those deltas we just discussed. The formula is event ROI, accelerated revenue plus deal expansion plus competitive win delta plus intelligence value plus CLV delta, total event investment.
All right, let's break that down. 5 components in the numerator, divided by the cost. We talked about accelerated revenue, that's the velocity delta value.
Correct.
Deal expansion that links to the ASP delta and maybe multi-threading.
Yep, bigger deals often because you engage more stakeholders.
Competitive win delta, that's the value of those extra wins. Pretty clear. But what about the last 2? Intelligence value and CLV delta.
These
Feel
fuzzier.
harder to quantify.
They can feel that way, but they require a specific discipline. Let's take intelligence value. This isn't just we learned something interesting. It's about quantifying the value of specific, actionable signals captured at the event.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine at your executive dinner, you learn directly from a key contact that their company is actively looking to replace a competitor because they're really unhappy about an upcoming Q3 renewal process. That's gold.
Okay, yeah, that's concrete intel.
Right. Now, if your sales team uses that specific intel to jump in, tailor a proposal addressing those pain points, and ultimately wins the deal away from the competitor maybe a quarter earlier than expected, you can assign a quantified value to that specific piece of intelligence because it directly led to a strategic action and a measurable outcome.
I see. So it's about linking the intel directly to an action and an outcomes value, not just notes.
Exactly. It has to be structured. And the last one, CLV delta, that's customer lifetime value.
The long game.
The long game. Does the cohort of accounts that attended your events stick around longer? Do they buy more over time compared to the control group? This takes longer to measure, maybe 18, 24 months of tracking.
So for the immediate 90-day report to the CFO, you
Mhm.
focus on the first 3 or 4?
Primarily, yes. Acceleration, expansion, competitive wins are your quickest, most direct proof points. Intelligence value can sometimes emerge quickly, too. But the framework says you must acknowledge CLV and plan to track it long term. It shows you're thinking about sustained value, not just the immediate hit.
This all sounds great, but it hinges completely on capturing the right information in a structured way, right?
Yeah.
Not just, as you said, blobs of notes buried in a CRM field.
100%. Garbage in, garbage out. If the data capture is messy, the whole model falls apart.
So what specifically needs to be tracked? Account level first.
Okay, account level. You need meeting density. How many actual meetings happened around the event, including those side chats? Log them. Then intent lift. Are the attending accounts showing more online research activity, more engagement signals right after the event compared to their non-attending peers? Your ABM platform should show this, and definitely stakeholder expansion, those net new contacts added.
Okay. And at the individual contact level, beyond just pain points or objections, the sources mention 2 things that are absolutely critical for accountability.
Yes, crucial. You must capture the next best action agreed upon. What is the very next step? And second, who owns it and by when? That means capturing the mutual action plan or MAP owner and due date.
A mutual action plan. Let's clarify that. It's like a shared project plan for the deal.
Exactly. It's a document, maybe just a shared spreadsheet or slide, that outlines all the steps both the customer and your sales team need to take with dates to get the deal done. Tying event follow-up directly into updating or creating a MAP. That turns a nice chat into a shared commitment with momentum.
Right. It forces action. Now, this level of rigor, especially that MAP update, it feels like where things could easily slip. This framework depends on a 90-day proof plan. You can't wait ages for results.
No, speed and discipline are essential. The 90-day clock starts ticking immediately.
So walk us through that timeline, days 1 to 30. What happens then?
Days 130, baseline and design. This is all pre-event homework and setup. You absolutely must export your historical deal data, say the last 12 months, to figure out your current baseline velocity, win rates, ASP. Know your starting point.
Okay.
Then you work with revenue operations, with RevOps right now to build the logic for selecting those matched control groups. Don't wait until after the event. And critically, you configure your CRM or event tool for structured capture, and you lock in the follow-up SLA, the service level agreement.
And that SLA is tight.
Yeah.
The source material mentioned a 48-hour MAP update for Tier 8 accounts. That sounds ambitious for busy AEs. Is that realistic?
It's aggressive, yes. And that's the point. Momentum is everything after an event. The biggest risk is that the excitement fades and follow-up gets buried under other priorities.
So the 48 hours forces the issue.
It forces the account executive, maybe with their manager or an executive sponsor, to immediately use the intelligence gathered to update that mutual action plan and, ideally, book the next meeting.
How do you make sure it actually happens, though? Enforcement.
That's where RevOps and sales leadership are key. You might need to tie things like pipeline credit for the event or even aspects of compensation or MBOs to hitting that SLA. It has to be an organizational commitment driven from the top, not just a hopeful suggestion for marketing.
Got it. It needs teeth. Okay, so that's the first 30 days, setup and commitment. What about days 31 to 60?
Days 31-60, run pilots. Don't bet everything on one event format initially. The sources strongly suggest running pilots of maybe 3 different types concurrently to gather data faster and see what works best for you.
Like what kind of formats?
Good mix would be maybe 1 executive roundtable with 8-10 accounts, 1 conference ABM program targeting 20-30 accounts attending a big industry event, maybe with a side dinner, and 1 intensive single account workshop, that 1.1 deep dive.
Okay, so you run these pre-book meetings where you can capture all that intel using those structured fields.
Log everything meticulously.
And then the final phase, days 61 to 90.
Days 61-90, report the deltas. This is showtime. You analyze the data from the treatment versus control groups for your pilots. You focus hard on reporting those initial deltas, velocity, stage movement rate, maybe early win rate changes if you have them.
In the output, what does the CFO see?
Keep it crisp. The output should ideally be a single, powerful slide, your investment case. Quantify the impact, focusing initially on acceleration plus expansion in dollar terms based on those deltas. No fluff, just the quantified progress against the control.
That's a tight, compelling 90-day loop. And I like the pilot approach. It avoids putting all your eggs in one basket, which ties into the idea of managing events like a portfolio.
Exactly. Think like a venture capitalist allocating funds. You don't bet your whole budget on one high-risk moonshot. You balance risk and reward based on where the account is in its journey.
So how does that portfolio look? High risk, high reward first.
Those are your expensive, time-intensive formats. Things like a dedicated 1.1 executive briefing center visit or that single account multi-day workshop. High cost, high potential payoff. You reserve those for your biggest, late-stage, must-win deals or major expansion plays.
Makes sense. What about the middle ground, keeping things moving?
That's your medium-risk, consistent return category. Think industry roundtables, maybe vertical-specific clinics or forums. Great for mid-stage deals where you need to build consensus across multiple stakeholders in the account. Get 5 or 6 key people nodding along to the plan.
Solid pipeline progression plays.
Exactly. And then you have your lower-risk scale format.
This is for earlier stage.
Yeah, maybe sourcing opportunities from your named account list or early engagement. This is where those conference ABM programs fit in, targeting attendees, running side dinners or meetings. Lower cost per account touched builds broader awareness and initial engagement within your target base.
Diversification. Smart. It also helps avoid some classic mistakes, right? The things that absolutely kill event ROI.
Oh, yeah. There are 3 big destroyers of value. Number 1, spray and pray invites. Just trying to fill seats with anyone, that is not ABM. It dilutes the whole experience.
Fix.
Rigorous targeting. Use intent data, make sure they fit your ideal customer profile tightly, and critically, have the invites come from the account executive or even an executive sponsor. A personal touch, not a generic marketing blast.
Okay, number 2. This one, it makes my skin crawl. Bait and switch content.
Ugh, the worst. It just obliterates trust, which is the entire currency of these high-touch events. The moment someone sits down expecting a peer discussion and gets a thinly veiled vendor pitch, you've lost them, maybe forever.
So the fix is authenticity.
Absolutely. Keep the focus on real value. Peer discussions. Genuine panels featuring customers or third-party experts. Cut the self-serving monologues. Deliver the value you promised in the invite.
And the third pitfall, this ties back to your SLA rule.
It does. It's a one-and-done day mentality. Believing the event itself, the day of, is where all the value lies.
When actually,
The real value is created before the event in the targeting, the research, the pre-booked meetings, and crucially, after the event in that disciplined, rapid follow-up that uses the captured intel to drive the next step in the sales cycle via the MAP, the event day is often just the pivot point.
right. Okay, so to make this whole disciplined, structured system work, you obviously need some tech underneath it all. What's the minimum viable stack here?
You don't need a million tools, but a few are non-negotiable. First, your attribution and CRM. You need clean, timestamp data on stage changes to measure velocity. That's fundamental.
Got to track movement.
Yep. Second, an ABM platform. Good for identifying accounts showing intent, for targeting the right people, and importantly, for post-event remarketing or air cover only to the attendees and their accounts.
Keep the follow-up relevant.
Third, some kind of event operations software or capability. The key here is structured note capture. Can you customize fields easily to capture that next best action? The MAP owner, the due date. Don't let it be free text.
Structured data is key. And
Finally, dashboards. You need views for different people. An executive view showing the financial ROI, the deltas, a hot list for sales showing which accounts need that immediate MAP follow-up, and a view for marketing to see which event formats are driving the best results across the portfolio.
makes sense. Measure, track, report, optimize.
Bringing it all together, then, the core message is clear. Events aren't just a marketing expense line item waiting to be cut.
Not if you do it right.
Not if you do it right. They are a provable, verifiable revenue investment, but only if you instrument them correctly, using this cohort methodology to demonstrate that acceleration, that expansion, those competitive wins, that 90-day proof plan. That's your ticket to credibility.
So let's give everyone that script, the one you use when the CFO inevitably asks, what's the ROI? How do you answer it confidently?
Lead with the most conservative, easily auditable piece. velocity. You can say something like, okay, based on our historical data and the control group comparison, if just 2 of the 10 target accounts we engaged at this event close 1/4 faster than they otherwise would have,
Which you can measure with the velocity delta.
the accelerated revenue recognized in this fiscal year is $6. Our total investment in the event was diesel dollars. So that gives us an X divided by Y ROI based purely on acceleration. And importantly, that conservative calculation doesn't even factor in the deal expansion or the competitive wins we also tracked yet.
That's powerful. It's data-driven. It focuses on recognized revenue impact, and it's based on that historical, auditable comparison. That's how you win over finance.
It's the language they speak. It proves you're managing investments, not just spending budget.
Okay, so we've laid out the framework for proving value in 90 days, but you also mentioned the long game tracking that CLV delta, the customer lifetime value, over 18 months or more. That requires ongoing, specific intelligence.
It does. You need to keep capturing those signals.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. We talked about piloting 3 formats: the 1.1 EBC or workshop, the industry roundtable, and the conference-side event program. Thinking specifically about that intelligence value component of the ROI equation, the value of unique, actionable signals. Which one of those 3 formats do you think would inherently yield the highest intelligence value? And more importantly, how would you structure your note-taking and follow-up process to specifically capture, isolate, and maybe even quantify the unique value of that signal from that particular format?
That's a great question to ponder. It forces you to think beyond just the immediate deal cycle and consider the long-term strategic value of the different types of conversations each format enables. Which one gives you the insights that change your strategy? That's worth thinking about.